Good evening and welcome to the Ware Parks and Rec Commission January 12th, 2021 meeting tonight, 7 p.m. by Zoom. And first, I'd like to introduce everybody. My name is Janine Lynch and I am the Parks and Rec Chairman. And below me, we have Dave Lundeen, our Vice Chair. And next to him, we have Pam Moole. And off camera, but joining us with audio, we have Lisa Goulian, our director, and we also have John Van, ex officio. And so first we'd like to get to our agenda. And if anybody has any amendments to the agenda, let me know. Just raise your hand or add in if anybody needs to. Otherwise, we move to public comment, but at this point, we hadn't received any invites to the Zoom meeting. So we can move right on to number 4. We have tennis court resurfacing. So Denise Purrington reached out to me by email. She actually heard a response back from Vermont Recreational, finally, after months and months. And so she was interested in what they had to say. They actually were in town and tried to reach out and stop over and see the actual courts with someone, but they went in over on their own and just looked at it. And so Denise sent over the quote to me and I can forward it to everybody. And she said, so Denise's concern was some of the challenges of getting funded to completely redo the courts like Limeberry had wanted. That Limeberry really didn't think that repair was an option, more just replacing it. But she talked to, when Vermont Recreational gave their estimate, they thought that they could do a repair that would last another 3 to 5 years. So she's formally requesting that the rec committee looks at the repair proposal from Vermont Recreation and consider this as an option before we lose the courts altogether, while we're waiting for replacement funds to come through. So it would just give us time to look at grants and other funding options. So she sent it through and it was, they also did give a quote for the rebuild, which went to about 93,000, a little more than 93,000. So they're much higher on their rebuild estimate than Limeberry is. But when they talked about the repair being the temporary repair, cleaning the total surface, filling all the cracks with acrylic crack repair, supply and install the 558 linear feet of right-way crack repair system to the structural cracks, total area to receive 1 coat of an acrylic resurfacer, total area to receive 2 coats of the color plexi pave material. The plexi pave material is manufactured by California Plastic Corp. Textured coat to contain the proper amount of sand to provide a tough wearing base, top coat, and contain proper amount of pigment to provide a long-lasting, attractive surface. Supply and install 2 complete sets of textured tennis courts lines. So that would come in at $17,800. So this would be a temporary fix to not lose the court. I think that's what Denise's concern is. If we go with CIP and talk to the Department of Public Works, that it's going to be another year, and she's afraid that that might not be, that we might have lost it altogether. So this is something that we can open up further discussion to. I can send it over to you, but what I read is word for word for their actual estimate. They don't give any other information. So I don't know what people's thoughts are. If, I mean, right off the top of my head, if we're going to have Limeberry, if it succeeds with the CIP and we have Limeberry do a full replacement, then it, in a case, it doesn't really matter if the tennis court gets worse in the meantime. I mean, we don't want it to get worse, but to pay $17,000 for a couple years, I don't know. What are people's thoughts?
So this is John. My first thought, what's your repair budget for the year? where I'm going with that is if you decide that you do want to go through with this and you put forward an article for next year's vote, just remember, no means no. If the voters put it down, regardless whether you have the money in the budget or not, you cannot make any improvements or anything to that field.
Right.
To the tennis court, I should say.
So our repair budget, our line item for Parks and Rec repairs is $2,000. And we also have a maintenance budget of $3,000.
Yeah, but if I remember right, last meeting or the meeting before, we talked about putting a lot of that money towards the skate park too.
Right. Well, buying one feature wouldn't be near that if we did one feature a year. So, yeah, I mean, none of that comes close to, the 17,000. So we don't have it. It would still have to be, unless she was thinking that the Sawyer Fund would cover something completely like that, because it's a much more reasonable number, because we would still have to go to CIP for that. We wouldn't be able to do that.
And
So-
this is Pam. We can't do CIP and then put that money aside for the next year until we have enough money. It has to be CIP and then use that money, right?
I'm pretty sure that's how it works.
Okay.
I have a question. I don't know if maybe Naomi can answer this, since we're lucky enough to have her here tonight. What happens, we keep, like the skate park was kind of given obviously tennis courts are given to us to deal with, and the skate park's given to us. And then our budget got cut a couple years ago. I mean, what happens? Is there a way to increase our budget? I mean, we keep trying to fix things, but we're trying to fix things as prices go up and the budget has been reduced, and we have more things added to our plate.
So typically there's kind of a threshold. Capital improvements, you all get an invite, and capital improvement program deals with anything of $15,000 or more. Anything under $15,000 would go into the proposed budget. And when you present your budget, there can be increases. There always are increases. This year, the proposed budget's higher by 2.05% than the default, which in the proposed are, wants, not needs. And I'm sorry, needs, not wants. How's that? Sorry. And so it's going to go up. The cost of things do go up. So with that being said, when you propose it, if part of the proposal is to do some maintenance or increase it for maintenance at the skateboard park or increase it for maintenance at the tennis court, doesn't fall to the threshold of capital reserve or the capital improvements, then you bring it forth to the selectmen, it gets put in proposed, but obviously can't be put in default. So there are mechanisms there. You do have to wait, and it is at the mercy of the voters. But there's avenues a couple different ways.
It'd be interesting to see if this is something that Denise did want to bring to the Sawyer Trust and see what they thought. We didn't have numbers the first time we went to them because we just wanted to see if it was even an option, if they'd even consider it, if it was even on the table, which they did say it was definitely something in the alley that they were interested in considering. So it almost seems like if Denise is interested in doing something like that, I mean, obviously she needs a approval because of it being a town park. But so how do you guys feel about, that, seeing if Denise could move forward with talking to the Sawyer Fund?
I'm fine with it.
Oh,
I think it's great.
I'm okay with it.
What'd you think, Dave? I can't hear you.
I'm fine with it.
Okay.
Sorry. I must have hit the mute on the headset because it's all hooked into my computer, my work computer.
That's fine. All right. I mean, it's definitely an avenue, and that would be, if we went that route, I wouldn't, the only thought at that point is the Sawyer Fund would probably only be willing to try and help us once, probably just this repair situation. I don't think then we may not get assistance from them a second time when we do the complete total overhaul. That's kind of asking for too much, I think. So we would definitely be all on our own as far as the CIP goes for the whole rest. Yep, Naomi?
So my thought to that, I think there was support through the trust funds. And if you can buy yourself maybe, what was it? Sorry.
You thought 3 to 5 years was the expectancy of the repair? Oh, you're muted. Okay, so we'll wait till Naomi gets back and hold her thought. Maybe this is a really good buy some time.
Sorry, I had the dogs. So my thought was if you could get the Emma Sawyer to help along for the 17-8, that'll buy you 3 to 5 years. Then next year you could approach Capital Reserve Fund and not at one hit. Maybe ask for half and half or a third, and a third, and get you to have your money so that when the 3 to 5 years is over, it's A, less of a hit, but B, you'd have the money in the bank to do it.
That's what Pam was wondering was, can we bank CIP and how would we do that? We don't have our own fund or anything like that.
So what you would have to do is each year you'd have to go, well, the first year you'd go to CIP and say, we're looking at a project for $95,000. What we'd like to do is we've got a fix for 3 to 5 years. So we'd like to ask for the same amount for 3 to 40 years, you know, divide it up. And then each year you just submit the paperwork for the second of 4 phases, the third of 4 phases. So it goes on the ballot, just like Benji did with the bridge reconstruction, because we need our 20% when the state is ready for us to go, because they provide 80. So it's not a huge spike in the tax rate, but it's a steady, and that they know at the end of 4 years, they'll have the money aside so you could rebuild.
All right, so CIP kind of banks it for us?
Yep, so CIP, every year what you do is have the warrant article, and then after it gets approved at town meeting, Beth cuts a check and they go to the trustees and it sits in the individual funds.
Okay, all right, okay.
And
That's
it
something.
earns some interest, but next August, when we start it, just fill out the paperwork and say we'd like to bank it for it's up to you guys, between 3 and 5 years, so that our intent is the end of, we'll have it ready to roll.
That's really good. I didn't know that. That was one of Pam's questions, and I didn't know because the CIP is still kind of new to me. So that sounds like a really good plan. So our next step then, since everybody pretty much agreed, is I can reach back out to Denise and she can put the feelers out to the MSOR Fund. She's still in Florida at this time, but I think she can probably reach out to them maybe with an email, and then when she gets back, she can talk in person to them. So that sounds like a really good, solid plan. Yep.
So she may be able to do it by email because they also are
Not meeting.
not meeting. And I know if she sends Linda an email now and could get the ball rolling, it may take a meeting or two for them to get together. But just send her the email exactly, kind of like she did before, and get that started.
Okay, that sounds perfect. Okay. Let's see. All right, anybody else have anything as far as tennis courts?
I tried re-forwarding that Lineberry one to you because obviously I'm home, that I can actually send you it via out of my email. So you should
Right.
have it in your email right now.
I think if
Unfortunately, in 3 to 5 years, the price for Lineberry may not be the same price. It may be more expensive. It may be less expensive. We could get
That
into
all typically goes up, so I would bank on it going up higher.
Right, and the other thing is in 3 to 5 years, how is that fence going to be in 3 to 5 years? Are we going to end up having to replace the fence as well?
Gosh, isn't that the original fence? I mean, I don't know. I don't know
Yeah,
if
it's the original fence, so we could end up having a problem with the fence.
We could, but it's in really, really good shape and it's been there for a very long time. So, I mean,
Yeah, I'm not too worried about the fence. I mean, even if yeah.
I mean, we may have to
agree.
replace a section because when you go to cut it and you go to move it so you
Pull
can
it
get the
back.
equipment in, you may not be able to put it back. That would
Right.
be my only concern, is we may end up having to put in a 20-foot section of fence.
Right. And I mean, yeah, I mean, the prices, well, we had the price from Lineberry, we have the price from Vermont Recreational. We could even, for the total reconstruction. But like you said, we can take into allowance when we talk to CIP about it going up, like you're saying because you're right, materials, especially the fact that they're going to be using petroleum-based materials, those change all the time. So that's good. We'll pay attention to the price increase. All right. Any other thoughts?
Nope.
Okay. All right. Next item on the agenda, well, minutes. If anything needs to be reviewed, I don't know if that's
I don't have the minutes completed yet.
okay. All right. So next on the agenda, we have the skate park. The Boys and Girls Club reached out an email in the end of late December. Hello, my name is Josh. I'm a group leader at the Boys and Girls Club that operates out of the Ware Middle School. As the skate park's being demolished, it's becoming an increasing hazard to our students when we spend time outside in the playground. We do our best to keep them out, but winter has proved even more challenging. Students, even with multiple reminders, can't resist the urge to slide across the ice that's formed in the skate park. Since the skate park is being torn apart and out of season, I was wondering if town could close it off so our students and other children of Ware weren't tempted to run into potential harm. Please let us know if this is possible. Thank you for all you do at the town. I wrote back and said, thank you for writing. We're going to remove the debris and the damaged fencing, and we have put up closed ribbons in the past, and they've just been removed and ignored. So, I let them know that we acknowledge that definitely it's not safe, and we are looking to, in our volunteering time, get some little bit of it taken care of so it's not danger. And he wrote back and he said, thank you for the reply and the actions have been taken. He just started in September, so he hadn't known what was done in the past. So I don't know, Lisa, if you've been able to get a hold of the town truck to clean up anything that was in there?
I did drive by, it was a couple weeks ago and it was still not in the parking lot at the town offices.
I see it off and on. Is there any
I don't know if it's there now or not.
Are there any experts here that know the mystery of the town truck, of when it's available?
So I can just share with you, this is Naomi. It's there at times, it's there now. What we're gonna try to do is we remove it and take it to the DPW so that it's out of the way so that we can clean for storms. So you'll see it disappear. But right now, today it was at the town office parking lot.
So is the key somewhere where I can access it now?
We have the building department has keys and DPW has keys.
So
Okay.
Kelly-
So the
Kelly-
problem is I can go on the weekend to grab it. So I guess maybe I can ask her to leave it in my mailbox.
Okay, yeah, just make arrangements because the building inspector's using it. And when he wasn't using it and we took it to the DPW, they were using it to chase parts. So if we just kind of either email Kelly and Benji at the same time and probably work something out, one of them could probably get you a key and let you know where it is. But if there's a storm coming, it disappears because it's so hard to clean around it in the storm.
Sure.
All right. And then, John, you and Lisa were going to be working on getting rid of the fence. How's that going? I know there was a hang up last time.
I'm sorry, I've been on the phone with Benji. Benji's offered to go to the skate park and remove that debris pile for us. As for the fencing, when I went over there It was already pretty much frozen on the ground, and short of hooking up a chain to it and to the Suburban and attempting to rip it out of the ice, it's going to have to wait till spring.
Okay. All right. All right. Okay. So we'll definitely put that on later spring.
Yeah, but Lisa, if you could just touch base with Benji and point out or offer to meet with him, point out
Sure.
exactly what you'd like taken out. He said he'd be more than happy to get that taken care of.
Okay, I'll try reaching out to him. I also have a question about the trees at Chase Park, so I'll email him again.
Okay.
Okay. Anybody else with notes about the skate park? I have not tried further to reach Narbear about any more features at this point. I need to figure out if I'm gonna cold call them since the email didn't hit response and see what they say. I'm just kind of hoping they don't have a busy time, but I'm assuming with skateboard parks, with snowboarding, they're probably got a busy time, but I have to reach out with them again and see about that. Anybody else? Skate park? Okay. Next, Chase Park. So, with wonderful, tremendous help from Beth, we have ordered 5 no-wake buoys in this budget year. So that was great. We were able to, and we saved, the original estimate, I believe we had was around $1,200, and our new price came in at $900. So we were able to save $300, shop locally at Sea Light right in Tilton. And they were going to reach out to me when it was all complete. I don't know how long it takes to do this. Lead time, they didn't say. And they said that they would even hold on to them for us if we didn't want to run up there and get them until spring, because they realized they can't go in the water right now. So, so that was wonderful. We have that taken care of. I think I showed you guys kind of the pictures. You probably can't see it. Slow no wake signs. Okay, so that's a good check mark. Lisa had reported that she did open the gates. We'd received an email, someone questioning the false information that was being spread around Facebook about Chase Park gates not being unlocked, allowing ice fishing, and Lisa was able to reach out through email that no, they were incorrect, that Chase Park gates do get unlocked so people can ice fish. And that has been done. Has it been like about a week now, Lisa, since you opened up the gates? I think she's busy.
Sorry, I was trying to get access my email, so then I can't access the screen. It's been a couple of weeks, I think.
Okay. All
It's been a
right.
while.
Okay.
Week and a half,
we're
2
on-
weeks.
So we're on track with that then. Anybody else have any talk about Chase Park? You're gonna talk to Benji about the trees, you said?
This is Dave Lundy, and I do
Yeah.
have something on Chase Park. Did we ever figure out what we're doing on the boat ramp? Do we need to go, and Naomi, maybe you can answer this, because I haven't been around before we had to do like the EPA to get the sand loaded to the beach. Do we have to do anything to be able to basically pull the dirt back to try to fill in some of the holes that's already sitting there?
I did have that on my agenda next and I forgot. So the last meeting, Dave and Kristen had supplied us with pictures of the boat ramp degrading rapidly at the bottom. It was much worse because of the drought. The water level was lower. So it's almost like the damage was exposed out of the water, making it really hard for boats and trailers to get in and out of the ramp. And so, Naomi, what Dave had asked about, can you enlighten us for what we can and can't do on the water's edge with the boat ramp?
So I'm not sure of that, but I would be happy to make a contact to DES because they're the ones that you have to get permission when you change your docks and everything else. And then when we had the glass and the sand, we had to get them involved at that point, if you remember that nightmare. But I'd be happy to reach out, see which department we have to go to, because when we did the replenish the sand, we had to go through them as well.
Okay,
So I can reach out to, I do have a gentleman that I work with quite a bit with DES. I'll be happy to reach out to him and see what's required, because we should do it now, obviously, while the water's down, but I don't want to do it without asking what we're supposed to be doing. And if it takes a permit or an application or something, a minimal review, then this is the time to do it.
and what
But I
type
don't-
of materials too?
Yeah, and that's exactly. I'd like to have his guidance and discuss the whole, the degrading of the beach and the complaints that we've gotten, because John will tell you, we've been shared a couple of them. Of the people that are just what are we going to do? How are we going to access? So I think we start with DES, let them point us in the right direction, and start with them, and so that we're ready to go and do it before the water gets let back up.
That
And
sounds
we
wonderful.
can send you we can either, I think we can send you pictures so that you've got them, so that you can have them to kind of forward on to him and say, here's what we're seeing. What can we do or not do? And maybe he can give us some guidance as to what's going on.
Yes, typically you have to have pictures for the application anyway. So if you want to email them to me, David, that would be fine. And I could start with a forward to them and start with a suggestion, but you also typically have to put pictures and all sorts of things with their application, but that would be great.
Okay. I'll see if I've got them, unless you've got them right in front of you, Janine, that you can just forward on.
I have them on my phone. They're not in email form, but I can definitely send them to Naomi. It'll
Okay,
take
yeah.
me a couple minutes.
I have to find them in my phone, and I've had issues with my phone. So
I think mine are easier to find. Yep, that sounds good. Otherwise, Kristen took the ones that I had, so she may still
well,
have.
she got them from me because we share the same camera roll. So I'll have to we'd have to check and see if we can find them.
Okay. All right, I can, all right, so that's perfect. So we will get pictures to Naomi. Okay, and she'll reach out to DES. That's perfect.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Naomi.
Thank you very much, Naomi. Okay, and then, okay, so, and the last thing I did have about Chase Park, sorry to try to cut it off earlier. It has come to my attention that I realized this has been going on for a little while. Private swim lessons are taught at the lake, and I'm not sure what the rules are. It's not where we've been asked permission or a facility use form or anything like that has happened. So I don't know what the rules are for that with private swim lessons, and I don't know how other members of the board feel about it. Any thoughts?
This is John. My only concern would be any liability to the town.
Yeah, I actually have partaken in private swim, or my kids have partaken of private swim lessons at Chase Park. It's a matter of just meeting somebody there, and then they're doing the swim lessons. I don't know how we would be able to monitor that.
And I realize that we can't stop people from just meeting and swimming, but once there's an exchange of money, it changes everything as far as insurance goes. It's not just casually meeting to hang out at the lake anymore, but once you're paying for a service, you're paying for a swim lesson. I mean, to my knowledge, it changes things.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that, because I know that private lessons take place on fields as well. I mean, for instance, I meet a softball coach in Warner, sometimes in Concord, for private lessons. The fields are open to the public, so we meet there. There is an exchange of money that has happened, but I'm just not sure how that works. It'd be the same. We've also had the same thing happen at like batting cages, where you show up and you pay for maybe batting lessons at a public cage. It's not necessarily that anybody's aware, but there might be a coach there with kids.
Well, yeah, but you're paying to use that facility. So at that point, you have permission.
I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just saying that I think it would be very difficult to monitor.
Well, yes and no. I mean, if we're aware of who's doing it and, they come to the lake and they're explained that it's not allowed to happen anymore, I mean, so yes and no. I I mean, I don't know what the rules are. I think it's, I don't think it's right. I mean, we make the Boy Scouts fill out a facility use form to come and have a meeting when the lake is open. And they're not charging money, they're a nonprofit group, but they're gonna meet there. And so we require other groups to fill out a facility use form. We're not letting, certain organizations use our fields. So the rules should be the
Yeah.
same across the
Yep.
board for everyone. So I feel that, I know who the individual is in particular. If people want me to reach out from the board, or if somebody else needs to reach out or feel like, a facility use form needs to be filled out, because it's kind of, yep, Naomi?
John, I'm not sure I agree with it. I'd like to see if there is any liability on the town, if God forbid there's an accident or anything like that. If there's no liability and we don't offer such a service, if somebody's willing to step up and do it, let them do it. It's something that isn't offered much anymore, and it may not seem completely right, but there's no harm, no foul. That's just my thought. As long as a town is not liable for anything that could potentially happen with a private instructor happening in a technically public lake, I don't see an issue. That's just my thought.
Okay. Naomi, your thoughts?
The only thing I was thinking, John, is that we did change the facility use form a little bit. And if you recall, Zumba, we charged, it was like $12.50 because they were a multiple user. And it's my understanding probably swim lessons would be more than one session. I never participated, and neither did my kids because my mom has a pool. But I don't know how often or how many weeks, but I will tell you that Primex is going to want something from them as far as insurance, so that what if something happened to the kids? I don't know. I'd be happy to check on the insurance, and B, we can look at the facility use form, because it did include all the properties, the gazebo, the whole thing.
I think they need to fill up.
That would be more for using a facility that's already closed and you're going in to use it. If these patrons, if you will, are coming in, they've paid their fee already for Chase Park, who are we to tell them what you're doing while you're there already? They've already paid the entry fee.
I guess then what we should do first is see what our insurance company thinks first.
I
Okay.
I
agree.
think they just need to fill out just like everybody else. If they're using it, they need to fill out a facilities use form and show us that they've got the proper insurance, just like WAC has to
I'm
do.
nervous about that though, because then are we providing them, telling them, guaranteeing them a certain space? Like when the Boy Scouts go in, we're scheduling them in there, and we're not going to schedule anybody else in there. You know what I mean? We're going to make sure they have that space.
Well, we specifically told the Boy Scouts when they did ask for permission that we weren't guaranteeing the space, when Troop 24 had asked to meet for a canoe kayak lesson type of thing. They didn't end up going through with that.
Oh
but-
yeah, I'm talking about this winter. Like we opened it up so that they could go in there and use the parking lot, and we wouldn't have. I mean, I would have.
Right,
We let
but
them
swim
use,
lessons are when we're already open. They're not asking for us to unlock the key or anything like that.
Yeah, we're not. So if they're paying, they're going in, they're using it, they're not using a specific space. I understand that there's an exchange of money, and I understand that that's uncomfortable. I don't know.
Well,
I'm just not
uncomfortable is
sure.
one part of it, but liability. I mean, I had someone yard sale shop at my personal residence, and they were buying something and they injured themselves, and it was an insurance situation because there was an exchange of money.
I know. We're not the ones benefiting from it though. You know what I mean? Like we're not. I just don't know. I just don't know what the answer is. I'm not trying to be. I understand where you're coming from. I just don't know how. I don't know. I guess I don't know. Like I would hate to show up at the, on a Saturday when I know that I'm able to use the field and have somebody say that I have to fill out a facility use form because I happen to have a coach with my kid that day, if the field's wide open. You know what I mean? Not that I ever do that in Ware, I don't, but I would hate for that to happen in Warner or in Concord or wherever else I might meet a
Well, it's the
coach.
same as anything. Someone would have to know that it's happening. Someone would have to know that, hey, that field's getting used every single Tuesday night for 3 hours for this coaching session. I mean, it's not happening once and never again. It's, it's a repeated thing for years and often, and it's happening multiple times. And somebody would have to be, informed about it. And then you'd be like, all right, this is kind of a situation because it's happening often.
Yeah, I agree. If it's happening, it's a regular basis, then that would be different. I'm not aware of anything that happens on a regular basis,
This is Pam.
a
If
reoccurring
she's
one.
advertising
Yes, on
private lessons at Chase Park, then she has to request to use Chase Park for
On
this.
Facebook, I was able to find throughout the years many times that it was listed with the person's name and where, and that they were lessons, yes.
Yeah, that is different. I can see how that would be different.
So,
We could
All right.
also restrict it to she can't have it on weekends. You can't have it on holidays. We know that during the week it's slower, and we're not, even though she's signed up for the facility use form, all park entry fees still need to be covered by the parent or who's ever bringing them. And if they're an out of town person, it's $40 per
Right.
day.
well, and yeah, and
No
that's,
pass and there's no nothing. And I don't want them to get all of a sudden have the facility use form and, all my people can come in for free. Nope.
right. No, you're right, absolutely. And nothing else would change other than Naomi would check to see insurance-wise if there was any, situation. And then, yes, it would be just a facility use form. There would be nothing, I think that something that Parks and Rec should be aware that it's happening. It's the awareness, we're not, I just feel it's kind of equal for all of our fields. So Naomi, if you're able to reach out and just find out, insurance wise, if we need any more information, and then we can definitely see about reaching out and seeing that a facility use form needs to be filled out.
So I explained it to the insurance. It's a private person that is probably certified.
Yes.
Yeah.
And she's advertising swim lessons for a fee that they just pay her for.
Yes.
All right, I just want to make sure I explain it right to the insurance company.
Taught at Chase Park. Yep.
And they pay whatever entrance fee to Chase Park they need to pay in addition to paying her for the lessons.
Okay, all right,
Yep.
thank you.
Thank you, Naomi. Anything else with Chase Park? Anybody?
Just real quick.
Yep.
I did send another email to Benji. Let him know. I don't know. Maybe something's changed. Last time I was over there, I hadn't noticed any difference with the trees. I think that we put up tape several different times this summer, and it came down. So we had to redo it. And I think that some of the tape that we put up this fall, a lot of that tape is down. So I did say that in the email. So I'm hoping maybe we can go over together, he and I, and again, and look at the trees. So I just don't want to tape them again if he's not going to get over there. And he's really busy.
It's almost to the point where you almost want to spray them, and then the tape doesn't come down. Whether you
I
just
think-
put an
you're
orange
right.
dot or something on them, then that way it becomes.
That's
more
a good idea,
prevalent.
Dave. That's probably what I would do if I was going to do it again.
And that
It
way, if
does
somebody
seem-
takes them down, it doesn't matter. It's got an orange dot. It's got an orange dot on it. And if you put it kind of down a little bit lower, so it's not right at eye height, more of it like 2 feet or 3 feet off the ground, then it's not. If they don't get to them, it's not going to be right where everybody can see it all summer long.
Okay. All right. So that sounds good. Hopefully that can move forward with Benji getting back to us about the trees. All right. So next we just had the senior baskets. So Lisa and all of her support of every member of her family were able, well, Pam and Lisa did all the shopping for all the baskets themselves and all the filler. And Lisa and every member of her family did all the stuffing and filling and organizing and beautifying. And then between Pam and Dave and Lisa and, Pam, John, Lisa, and I kind of tagged along. All the baskets were delivered to 26 seniors, Lisa, is that Pam, is that right? 26?
I think it was 20. I think it was 20.
Okay, but then some numbers changes.
20. There were some numbers. Yeah, there were.
That's right. 20, 21, it was around there. You're right. And we did hear a little bit of feedback from one family. Well, we got a lot of feedback personally dropping them off about how surprised they were and how happy and grateful they were that they were remembered and that they were thought of. And that was really, I know for me, it was touching. And then I know that we also heard feedback through the town about someone else that was really, really happy. Any other thoughts?
I'm with Pam. It was wonderful. And I don't think that I realized how much it was so nice to see people and see how much they were so happy. It was something that I really hope that we can do again. I understand the reason we did it was because of 2020 being what it was, but it was one of the benefits. Like there's these little benefits that are popping up out of this this awful year, and I really am thankful that we got to do that. That was really great.
I agree. And hopefully maybe next year, maybe not as large, but definitely maybe, we could talk about it later in the year and see. At this rate, with the way things are going right now, they might not even be meeting, right away anyway. So even half of the year.
What about maybe either doing something for the 4th of July or doing something for Easter? Because right now with the way COVID is, nothing's going to happen for at least 6 months. Whether we do something, hey, here's a July 4th would be kind of a good thing because it's kind of right in the middle of the year. So doing something, hey, a summer bonanza box, and
right.
Because we obviously already know that, hey, it's 20 or 21 people, and work our way from there.
That's definitely something I think that would be great to talk about when it gets closer, whether we do summer or a fall one again or something, winter.
Well, we do it based off of how COVID is, if they can't, they basically break their money into 2 batches for the year. So whether we take the first half batch of money and say, okay, here you go, and do the same thing we kind of did. And then as we get close to Christmas time,
do it again if they didn't get together again.
And do it together. And I don't know who the person is that requests that funds of kind of saying, hey, here's what our thoughts. Do you think Easter or something for July 4th might be a better idea, and see what they suggest.
Yeah, Lisa had reached out to them with that. They're the ones that provided her the list and everything.
Janine, I just want to tell you, in your mailbox for Parks and Rec, it looks like there's several thank you cards too. I didn't open anything. They're addressed to Parks and Rec. So I think there's some cards in your mailbox.
We will I will get a hold of them. Thank you so much.
That's so sweet. Oh, that's wonderful. All right, so good. Well, I'm glad everybody feels the same way, that it was definitely, something that we really enjoyed doing, and that we're, it's definitely worth looking into doing again. That's really wonderful. I know they probably enjoy getting together and seeing each other, with the luncheons as well too. So, all right, perfect. So we'll definitely put that on future talking when it gets closer. Any more thoughts on that, or should we move on to the next thing? Everybody's good? Okay. So I have town report. Karen sent out her email that the town report is due, the written information, January 22nd, and then statistical information is the 29th, which I'm pretty sure Karen probably has everything statistical for us already. But Lisa, is that something you want to write up for the 22nd, or do you want to hand the torch over to somebody else?
I think I did it last year for the town report, so I could probably just do something very, very similar. I'll include the senior baskets, of course.
And I don't know if you printed out the agenda or anything. I'd written a couple different ideas with the senior baskets, the pumpkin hunting success, the warrant article about the wages, so that people can kind of find out about that before it gets on the wage increase for the Chase Park staff, and CIP tennis courts being in the future, so people can kind of read about that. Chase Park improvements. I put the nice word of sparkling Chase Park, and
I love that.
and the tree removal, how we did have one come down with the storm, and how we're looking to have more trees removed. Plans with the skate park improvements of hoping to add a feature or two, and also about Chase Park with the fire department coming down with the life-saving equipment, making a note that they came down and helped out at Chase Park with some new equipment. Maybe the turtles hatching, and then also saying goodbye to Randy officially. He had left, I think April is, he
Yeah.
stayed until April. And then I would have moved up to chair when he left. Dave would have moved up to vice chair. And then we welcomed John as our ex officio in March, April. So those were the big changes I'd kind of thought of.
Yeah, and John actually has stuck it out with us.
I know, he's really, we've never had so much participation from the Board of Selectmen before. It's awesome.
Would you like me to disconnect? I can leave.
No,
No, we
talk-
have nothing bad to say.
No,
we,
I'm actually really happy.
It's just been nice that somebody has, stuck with us.
We didn't give him a hard enough time yet to leave. No.
There's always next year, Janine.
Nothing could be worse than last year, John. Wait, where's wood? I need to knock on wood.
We made it through 2020. We'll survive anything. All right. Any thoughts on the town report?
Going back to Chase Park real quick, for employees that are going to be new hires or rehires, et cetera, I believe it's the Board of Selectmen's wish that we interview them this go around.
That the board does?
I'm sorry, say that again.
That the BOS does the interviews?
Correct. You guys, it's something I got to bring up and just verify that's still the wishes, but I wanted to give you guys a heads up that it's not going to be a blanket hire like last year, I don't think. But on sometime in the next few meetings, I'll bring that up and just verify that again.
Okay, so what we had done is we interviewed everybody because our board was essentially almost brand new. So we didn't rehire any new returning staff without interviewing. So I mean, if the Board of Selectmen wants to be there at our interviews, or if it's more along the lines of the Board of Selectmen wants to do the interviewing and we're there, or what have you, I don't
It's
think.
more along the lines of just keeping everything even. We interview for highway, we interview for town, we interview for PD. Board of Fire Wards handles their own because that's the way the law is written, I guess. Just trying to make it even across the board. And like I said, that was just a discussion we had some months ago. I'm going to bring it back up again and see if that's still the wishes, just so we can be, everybody can be prepared for it when that time comes.
So we hired last year between 15 and 20 people, and it was 2 nights of 2 hours of interviews. Just a heads up, scheduling wise, for meetings and such as like that, because
I have a question.
that was last year. Yep.
Sorry. So does the board want to do the interviewing, or is this going to be we continue to have some say? Because it's people I manage, that's what I'm concerned about.
I'm going to have to get clarification on that for you, but I would imagine it would be PARC would do the first round, and then everybody comes into the Board of Selectmen for the final. That's stuff we have to hash out on our side.
Okay.
Sounds interesting. I don't know if it's been done like that before, so this will be new for everybody.
John, the other question is or maybe for Lisa, is have we even sent out how many people are interested in coming back? Because obviously we've got a bunch who are seniors this year, and are they even going to be coming back for the season? Because you got Nicholas, you got Gabby, you got Madison, you got I know there's, and Libby, you got like 4 or 5 that I know right off the top of my head who are seniors currently, who I don't know what their plans are post John Stark.
Yeah, so we had done in the fall, I kind of did a quick, who's thinking about coming back. I know those things change. I manage, like, again, I've mentioned it before. I manage a small department at Pat's Peak. I thought I had everybody coming back. It turns out they can all make $4 an hour more somewhere else, and I don't have employees. I've just been scurrying to try to find people for there. So I would need to double check, and I think that those things change. It's fluid, and it's that's a ways away, but certainly we could put out feelers.
So, John.
Well, we are January already, so we start doing interviews like next or end of next month, right? We start putting in requesting applications, so it's coming quick.
Yes, so we wouldn't even, next month would be the time to do it, to check. And again, we can expect that some of those things could change. But because I think we did have that meeting with Kristen about, I don't know if we officially had the meeting with Kristen. I know that there were some personnel, there was personnel discussions, let's put it that way. So we will have to go from there. I've got to check in with everybody and see if plans have changed.
I think she did officially state who she was really excited about coming back and who she had difficult with. I thought she did. I thought I had good specific notes about that.
We did it last year. We didn't do it at the end of this year, from what I remember.
Okay, maybe that's what I'm remembering is her talking about
Last year.
Returning hires. Okay, all right. So we'll definitely, we always want to have Kristen meet with us before and during, so we'll do that again. We can get a list from her. John, in the other departments that you listed, that the Board of Selectmen does the hiring in the interviewing, do the departments, do they do their own interviews first and then the Board of Selectmen does the second interview, or do they do it joint?
Correct.
That's how they handle it?
We're the final, but the initial one is the department head figure out all the other details, if they're properly qualified, if they meet all the proper criteria, then the department head comes to the Board of Selectmen in a non-public. We discuss it. We then interview again with that employee. And as far as I know, and I could be wrong, but Naomi can correct me if need be. I don't think the Board of Selectmen has ever not accepted the recommendation of the department heads.
Right.
That makes sense.
I'm just thinking how we hire, it's just seasonal and it's so many people all at once that if it's double interviewing, it's going to take a lot longer. So we really probably have to start looking at hiring even sooner and getting applications in sooner, because it takes us, a good week already. And if they're going to have to book additional interviews, we want to just start thinking about that for timing.
That's a good point, Janine. So if we're planning on having our hiring done the end of, we're hoping to meet the end of February. Is that correct? So
applications to be turned in February, I believe.
Yeah. So, okay.
And then I think we were going to start doing we need everybody squared away in April. They need to be all set and squared away in April so we can open up the weekend.
So then you'll need to schedule, and if they're college students, they'll need to be home. Or maybe you'll do Zoom meetings. I'm not sure how it would work this year. But you'll need to schedule a few hours of time on a couple different nights for Board of Selectmen.
Hey, Naomi, can you put it on one of our agendas coming up, maybe a slow night in February, we can discuss it at the Board of Selectmen if we are still going to continue with this idea we discussed some time ago.
Sure, I think John hit it 100%. Typically, you might get, in good years, you get 30 applications, would be nice. Then Parks and Rec would whittle down to however many you're gonna hire. Then basically, they would come to see us, as John indicated. If you've narrowed your list down to the final and are recommending these 12 kids get hired, then we bring them in one at a time, maybe for 10 minutes. It's not gonna change probably our thoughts because you guys have done all the legwork, just like all the other department heads do. But we do meet with the final person.
As a work session too. We don't have to do it on
Right.
a normal Monday night.
Yeah, and we've
Right.
done that when we hired the chief of police. We did it several nights through the week on off nights for Monday.
All right, so you would handle it on one night, so it wouldn't really extend our interviewing time much longer. Okay, and so, all right, so basically when Lisa sat at the Board of Selectmen and recommended all the names, they're gonna be present and they're just gonna answer questions.
Correct.
Correct.
Okay.
We're
Kinda
not
like
trying to make it more
the,
complicated. It's just, we're trying to keep it, what's good for one is good for all, basically.
It makes sense. I mean, it's when we wanted to volunteer for the Board of Selectmen had to interview all of us to be able to sit here and tonight and do what we're doing.
Yeah, plus it gives us a little bit, they've kind of filtered through 2 different interviews, so.
Absolutely. That's fine. That sounds good.
Protective cover for us.
We also get a name to a face because half of them we've never even met.
I
Right.
actually liked using that to my advantage last year because I felt like we had a couple times when board members were able to pop in and these kids had never seen them before. So then I could get reports back. It was really nice. So anyway.
Yeah, but it's more probably the Board of Selectmen knowing who the kids are. I don't know. When I would go to the lake, I don't know if they even remember who I was half the time. I mean, a few did, but most of them wouldn't even, remember me. So I think I think their cover won't be blown, Lisa. All right. I think there's a few future business, but we'll be changing that and adding that, but I don't think, so we could definitely pick Naomi's brain on one more thing. Boy, do we love having you here tonight, Naomi. This is marvelous. So under our future business, we have 2 things. I'll go over the easiest one first. Bylaws. So I reached out to Chuck Metcalf a couple years ago, and he said that bylaws weren't anything that he had any copies of or knew existed, and I haven't been able to find any research-wise. So if that's something the board's able to kind of get together and draw up, what of our rules as far as, does it get approved with the Board of Selectmen? Does it go to the town administrator? How do we get something like that in record?
So you're looking for a set or you're looking to establish a set?
Well, if we already have a set, we'd love to have those and we would, change them or adopt them or whatever we need to do. I couldn't find any. So if we don't have a set of bylaws, then we would be willing to draw some up. I mean, I've printed some out from some of the other boards, like the Agricultural Commission and Conservation and things like that. So we could, stay.
I can see it being a research project with the fact of, you'd have to go back as to, which I think Karen has done for us, is gone back. We went back into this, and I did with Denise, way back is when they established a Parks and Rec Commission. They did that through town vote. And sometimes if you look through the old town meetings, they have, kind of put it on the warrant article and describe the whole bylaws. So I think we've got a lot of information. I think we could start to see if there were bylaws, but I'd like to see I would like to do the history maybe of when Parks and Rec was established and how you were created with X amount of board members and things like that. And that goes back to a warrant article at town meeting a long time ago. I just would have to find we have all the town reports at the office, they're in the vault. So it'd just be a matter of taking them and copying them and bringing them forward. I'm thinking it's probably, 40, 50 years back that we would have to start that. But Karen has done an awful lot of research when we were looking into Chase Park as well, and we've come across a lot of information. She put together some information for the board, but I can ask her if she would do that. Are you looking at a time frame? Because we're in office, out of office type of thing. So
It's been on our future business for a while. It's just something that when I joined, I kind of realized I had never seen them and was really interested to see what they said. And so that's when I reached out to Chuck, and that's what Karen Stogner had thought, he might have some more information. And so, no, it's not anything pressing. We just think it's something that, we'd like to work on. And we kind of thought winter's a little bit quieter, which is funny because now we're going to
and I don't know that there even is such a thing. You know what I
Right.
mean? If we went back to see how it was established and no bylaws were created, I don't know that you need bylaws. I don't know. Not every committee has bylaws. I know the planning board does, and the zoning board really just follows the zoning ordinance. A lot of them have missions. Finance committee
Yeah.
finance committee doesn't really have bylaws per se. They have an ordinance of how they conduct business and their rules. So each one is done differently. You would have thought it would have been nice to put everything together, but that doesn't always happen because it happened along the years over time.
Well, I
But-
know that I found the Ware Agricultural Commission, they have bylaws and rules. And I know that the Agricultural Commission and the Conservation Commission, which I kind of put us in line, similar to them, us being also another commission. So, and I was thinking that if we don't find any for us, that, as a board, if we feel that we want them or need them, which I know I'd like them, I'm definitely a rule kind of person, that we could figure out how we proceed if we do draw them up. Are they submitted, are they voted on, or how do they become our bylaws if we do create them?
Yeah, that would take, I'd like to see where you were, and maybe commission's not the right word. I don't know.
We
You
actually, that's how we're stated, I believe, on the town website, is we are parks.
Right. But I'm saying 50 years ago, before we had a website,
Right.
could you have been called Parks and Recreation Committee? And
Possible.
then commission developed. I know, that's why I said, I think we have to go way back to when the town first decided to have a Parks and Recreation Committee, commission, or whatever. I think that's where we have to start from. And then once you start from there, it just honestly, it takes every year, you have to look at the warrant articles from that year coming forward.
Okay. All right. So if it does get researched and found out at some point and there aren't any, and we are interested in making them, that's something that's a possibility?
I would think so.
Okay.
Unless there's some reason that, that's a quick question too to town council, because there are other towns that do have them, right?
I'm
There's
sure.
There's other towns that have bylaws for recreation?
I haven't looked outside of Ware. I only looked at other commissions in Ware to see what they had been doing. So I hadn't really looked at other Parks and Recs
Because I know
departments.
the Agricultural Commission was short-lived, and it was an article, and when it was developed to create a recreational commission, which stated, I think, the number of members and then a few of the rules, but all of that was put on the ballot. And I think it was very, very short-lived because we don't have anybody that volunteers. It's really been obsolete for a long time.
Yeah. Yeah.
And conservation's a little bit different because conservation manages like the lands. And then they also have some spending ability. And then they also get the 75% of the current use penalty that goes into their fund they can spend. They have they're a lot governed by the state statutes, though. They're a little bit different. But I don't know if it's common or not. I guess we can start to look.
It just kind of came up with us question-wise, like, understanding it's just kind of nice having something written down, understanding CIP, like you're explaining to us, the $15,000 threshold. None of this was kind of written down, so we're kind of learning and just figuring out in the voting and what we do have to vote on and not vote on. And I mean, unfortunately, we've had tremendous amount of help from John and yourself, but it's kind of nice to not have to always lean on someone. And so it's just something I'm interested in. I obviously, it would take everybody to be interested in it, but it's nice to know that it's an option if they don't exist. All right, that sounds good. And then the next thing on future business is it's been mentioned. I think John had originally brought it up, but it's been mentioned multiple times, different places. Is if Parks and Recs was capable to have a separate account for a revolving fund, because right now it's all budget. So it'd be a matter of if we didn't, and I'm not sure, John, if I'm even describing it right, what your thoughts were, but I was assuming like if we didn't use everything in the budget, do we get to hold some for the next year, like keep it over, that kind of thing. So if anybody wants to interject.
I was more thinking along the lines of incoming money from Chase Park would go back into Chase Park or other basically it would be used for improvements, not just going back into the general fund. And I don't know, I'm by no means an expert, know what I'm talking about. Naomi's gonna be a lot better versed of that than I am, but that's what I was thinking.
That would be really nice, because then we would have the money to fix the tennis courts, because we'd have the ability to save up,
Yeah, so John, if you're looking at it, there's different funds. There's a revolving fund, there's a special revenue fund. And when I saw on your agenda, the revolving fund, I did take a peek, and RSA 31:95-h is called revolving funds.
You have to talk slower. 31.
31:95-h as in Henry.
Yep.
That's the state statute for revolving funds, and it describes the different ways or only purposes that you can create a revolving fund for, and recreation is not listed. You can facilitate, maintain, and encourage recycling. You can provide ambulance service or fire service or both. You can provide public safety services by municipal employees or volunteers outside of their ordinary details. Create affordable housing. Provide cable access for public educational and governmental use. Financing of energy conservation, and facilitating transactions relative to municipal group net metering. So I would have to then direct to see if the special revenue is the place to go. But I think what we were thinking was more or less the income and the fees that are collected probably at Chase Park. But I don't think you would be able to take the fees at Chase Park and go ahead and use them on the tennis court. I think you would probably have to reinvest it into something at Chase Park. But I think it's not a revolving fund, so I would have to search the special revenue fund and see what their parameters are. It can't be done this year because I do know you have to have a public hearing way in advance, and we're ready to do our public hearing on Monday night for the budget and the warrant articles. So it's something we could look at and see how it works.
Naomi, that 3195H, Roman numeral 1, subsection C might apply, where it states other construction projects.
But if you're going to take the fees from Chase Park, you'd have to put it in Chase Park.
Correct, I agree.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
that would, yeah, I mean, there's definitely plenty of improvements to be done at Chase Park. I was thinking more along the lines, even public safety, aren't we fixing up things that are like falling apart and damaged and dangerous?
But it's where you're getting your money from as to what you're putting back in. If you
Right.
charge to use the tennis courts, you could start that.
Yeah.
Just like the special details for the police, we used to do them, and so much was for the car, so much was for the administration, and so much was the officer per hour. So it was
Right.
all put together, and the money in the car has stayed with us.
Mhm.
But it takes a little bit more research. There's different funds out there. Revolving is one, special revenue is one. There may be a better fit. I only looked up revolving funds.
But if it did work out, then we were able to, keep it at Chase Park with, new swim lines and just maintaining and just that kind of thing. That would free up some of the money that we spend there for the other type of
Sure, you
projects.
could reallocate those lines to some other project in the budget.
Right.
I'd love for Chase Park to become self-sufficient.
And
Yeah,
we
well-
spend more than we bring in.
Yeah,
We
that's
do
gonna
spend
take a
more
little
than we
while.
bring in. But that may change
Baby
now
steps. Baby step.
with the fee increase. It could possibly change.
Right, step at a time, and I think it's something that you go for, but what's gonna have to be sold on the selectmen's part of it is that money now goes into the general fund, so the general fund won't be, would be lacking that, just like if you take, all the recycling money and put it into a separate account, then your general revenue is shorter, so you have to raise taxes. So it's just a learning curve and something that we have to get out in front of and explain to people that making it self-sufficient, if we end up in that direction, it'll save you here, but at the same time, your revenue would be less. So it's just,
Right.
it's baby steps, as John said.
On that note, and while we have Naomi here, because this is something we would, there used to be a snack stand at Chase Park. There used to be that whole building that was there, snack bar, ice cream, candy, sandwiches, that kind of thing, hot dogs. And I understand we don't want to have to deal with having the food license, but can we sell sodas and waters and maybe, sealed packaged food out of the gatehouse? Because that would be another way for us to have some revenue that would come in either for the park or for something else.
Maybe some vending machines that we stock.
Vending machines are very expensive to buy, so I'm not sure how that would work because we've thought about that before, and they do get vandalized.
I don't know, we'd have to think about that. Is it all prepackaged and just easy to get, you're not cooking anything and providing anything?
Yeah, if we're not cooking and we were to just do some prepackaged things, kind of like what Pam does for WAC with she has the
Snack Shack.
the snack shack, but if we just had some things that were in the gatehouse that were for sale, and that way, and at night, of course, because the money's not kept there, it would get deposited at the town office. So
I guess, I mean, I do know WAC does it because I did it when my kids were there, and Pam does it now, but it was always nice, actually, if you were short or needed some water or somebody was not feeling well, it's a quick fix sometimes. I guess I don't have an issue with it, John, and we could probably just look a little further, but I don't think there would be an issue with it where they're not preparing food, touching food, making it so that no one would get sick. I guess I personally don't see an issue with it because there are people that may become unprepared or something like that.
The other thought just came to me is maybe we can work with one or two of the established businesses in town or bakeries or something like that, and have them package the material or the product, and then we just resell it that way.
Yeah, I think John, maybe, and I could be all wet here. Are you talking like water, soda, chips, M&Ms,
I'm thinking more
Skittles?
like if you want
I
like
was thinking,
fluffy
Naomi.
pies or baklava or sandwiches or something like that.
Okay. All right. I mean, I was thinking, like I said, I had the kid thing in line at like WAC. It was just easier. You can go to Sam's Club and buy the huge things of Rice Krispie squares and sell them individually. You can take the huge thing of M&Ms, you know what I mean, individually sold.
A long shelf life.
Yeah, and that do have a long shelf life. But for 50 cents or $1, if you're out of water because it was extremely hot and you didn't pack enough, you had a Gatorade or you had a peanut M&M or a regular M&M just to get you something. I guess I don't see that an issue. I see Boy Scouts and everybody else does it. We do it as a snowmobile club. So I guess I don't have a problem with it. But that's just me. I mean,
I'm
only concern is from a safety issue. Is you're now having people walk over to the gatehouse where you have cars coming in and out, and it's not a safe place, especially if you're sending a kid up to get a water in traffic, in trying to.
Well, I mean, you're sending people across the parking lot anyway. I mean, and And quite frankly, there used to be a store that was open right alongside of the road, and that's what kids used to walk up the side of the road from. So they were walking across the parking lot, across the traffic, and then up the road, which is narrow and winding there, to get to that little store. So I'm not really that concerned about safety. If safety becomes an issue, then we can make adjustments and put stuff over at a table, on the lawn. I'm just
The-
thinking that there is a way for us to maybe make a little bit of more money back for the town to help support.
The cars do have to
Parks.
stop at the gatehouse, so it's standing traffic. There, every car is supposed to be stopped. And there is that window that the cars don't go to. There's that back window that faces the actual park where Kristen puts the lost and found stuff. So they could be walking not where the cars are, but where the little grasses or anything like that. So, I mean, I think it sounds like a really good idea if we're granted permission to do that.
Naomi, would we have to get any kind of reseller's permit or anything like that to resell that stuff as a town?
I can't imagine it. Pam, you probably know better than I do.
You shouldn't need to have a permit to resell items that are prepackaged like that. It would only be if you were doing hot dogs or if you were preparing raw food.
Okay.
And as far as, I mean, well, reselling, as far as just being a retailer reseller, there's no sales tax collected or anything like that on food that's prepackaged. So you don't have to deal with sales tax. So that's good.
Are we good? Did we cover everything?
I think so. I mean, the things as far as future business, we really can't really talk too much about. I mean, playground company, that's going to be spring, obviously. Sunshades, that's going to be spring. And Chase Park resident take-in and weather, we'll talk about that, when we're meeting with Kristen and having the new hires. And then obviously Christmas tree, that's going to be out a ways. Booking the town hall sign, that'll be out a ways. They should get the town hall sign first. And we talked about CIP tonight. We also talked about the Sawyer Fund. So I'm good if everybody else is.
Well, the only thing is on the town sign is, do we want to reserve it to say, hey, putting in applications for Chase Park? So that way,
They're not going to have the sign up in time, I don't think.
Oh, that's right.
Andy, when are they installing it in May?
okay.
We have spring. I don't know. It's going to depend on if we get any more snow or how the weather goes. I don't know. Spring
I
is
don't
pretty
think
wide
they-
open.
That's 4 months.
Can I just add, if we can do our best to do the Christmas tree. We had one grumbly person, as you all follow Facebook, they put everybody's town gazebo up with a Christmas tree and the decorations, and we actually took a couple, one gentleman in particular thought it was disgraceful that we were lazy and didn't put up a Christmas tree, and that's the least we could have done during 2020. And so we tried to explain to him that it came to us but late, and we would do our best next year. So if we think about it before, around Thanksgiving, put it up then, you know.
Who used to do the tree at the gazebo? Because I mean, it wasn't Parks and Rec in the past, to my knowledge.
No, it was my understanding that Sherry Burdick had told us that they used to have an extra tree from the Historical Society that they put in the old gazebo, and they put one on the front step. She did try to dig it out last year, and it wasn't, in her words, it was awful looking. So why would we put something out? Plus this gazebo is bigger than the old one, so it would look like a tiny little tree. But I'm just saying, I mean, I'll put it on my calendar as well, because it would be nice, and we can go from there.
We definitely, when John brought it up, we definitely wanted to, talk about it. And it was too late this year.
Yeah, we like it, but it wasn't we were like, what? Where did this come from? So.
No, that's definitely something we'll definitely start talking about. Even talking about in October to start plan if it works out.
If we know who it was who was concerned about it too, maybe they have a tree they can donate.
Well, we know who it
or
is.
lights or Yes, I saw some. I'm just saying.
We posted 6 or 7 town pictures of Christmas.
I know. I'm just saying that, I mean, it's not like somebody came out and volunteered and said, "Hey, can we do this?"
No, they
So
voluntold. They voluntold us.
so good. I'm sure that they will be the ones voting for the budget to increase too.
To buy Christmas lights for the tree.
Yes.
All right.
That'd be great.
Absolutely. Anybody got anything else?
I make a motion to adjourn.
I second.
Second it.
You got 3
Pam,
seconds there.
All in favor? Do I have to get everybody's roll call? Pam?
Aye.
Dave?
Aye.
John?
Yes.
Lisa?
Aye.
Janine says aye as well.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Thank you.
Good night.
Thank you.